But as you can see this evening, it is just Bobbi and Tank. In fairness, we are the greatest minds of Nerds That Know. And the rest of them are all, sitting in their perspective dungeons, very sad that they are not with us tonight. So, but we shall go on. The show must continue and move forward and all that jazz. So Tank is with me tonight to have a more condensed show with probably fewer tangents and, also less dinosaur dick jokes because Fox isn't here.
Just less.
This is true. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in with news that is kind of not a surprise, but Scarlett Johansson and Disney.
Yes, so Disney has officially decided they are no longer working with Mrs. Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, so you'll remember from last week, we were talking a little bit about the fact that Disney Scarlett Johansson has filed a breach of contract suit with Walt Disney because when Black Widow aired on Disney Plus, she did not get any monies.
No, they
it's
point based strictly on box office sales have not even hit their minimum yet.
Right. And so it's looking like $50 million that she's been shorted.
Which is a lot. So
yeah.
And she has a lot of money, but that's a lot of money to lose out, especially on your one big movie. This is your big final thing.
Yeah, and in fairness, I don't think for her it's as much about the money as it is about the breach of contract.
I would agree. I don't think it's so much that she's losing out anything specific. It's the idea that she basically was told to go screw herself based on the contract that she signed originally.
Yeah. Even Kevin Feige has publicly said that he's embarrassed about this whole situation.
And I think he specifically mentioned Disney's side of things, trying to utilize the pandemic as a source of defense by Disney, who has fired half of their staff and still made more money than they ever have this last year.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
So that's pretty ridiculous that they're going to try and scapegoat when they did what they've done. But
yep,
I guess that's why they make so much money.
Yeah, because they screw the little guy. I mean, most of your Disney actors are going to be unpaid interns or paid minimum wage.
A big chunk of them, probably.
So, hey, Mom, thanks for joining. Everybody else has decided that Tank and I are too cool for them. And so they are at home crying. They will be nursing their wounds for the next few days. But everybody will be back minus Stash on Monday when we would normally be recording. Mom says she likes it when it's just the two of us better. But in fairness, she can hear this same conversation over family dinner this weekend.
Say, almost any given Saturday or Sunday.
Right. So yeah, the big thing with Scarlett Johansson suing Disney for this breach of contract is it's opening up the door to so many other people being able to sue other streaming services for the same thing.
Especially with a lot of the stuff that is coming out or has already come out or is coming out very soon. I have, in particular, I think Dune might have some backlash on it because that was supposed to be a theater only. But originally, Suicide Squad's probably going to have some backlash on it because they had a decent chunk of well-known actors in that movie.
Yeah.
That are going to see their back end just disappear.
Yeah, I've heard rumors about A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah, that That one's gonna be a rough one.
Emily Blunt, and was it John
Krasinski.
Krasinski? Thank you. I was like, Krasowski is not right. Yeah. So there's talk about the two of them also filing suit. Emma Stone
already kind of mentioned that may happen.
Yeah, she said that she's still thinking about it. So for Cruella. So again, most of these people, I mean, some of them, who are going to file suit are going to be after the funds. But for the most, one of our viewers says it's John Krishnagamakamakamaba, and then there's lots and lots of consonants.
Well,
So thank you, Mark, for your help with that.
Baltic, Eastern European last name, so yeah.
Eastern European last names for 1,000, Alex. So it's more about the breach of contract than it is about the money.
Yeah, I'm assuming some that are probably, there's going to be a few people that are probably going to say something just because they're going to be shorted on their pay. But realistically, with the actors that have said something to this point, and the ones most likely to have some sort of grievance, is going to be people that are well known and are getting paid decently, but are getting paid decently on the back end, on sales. That's where a big chunk of them make their money. So having that not happen anymore, because most of these movies, once they go through the theater process, they're not even making their advertising revenue back. Like for I know a big one that's coming up, the new James Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
For it to break even, it needs to make $900 million.
That is ridiculous.
Because its advertising is somewhere in the 400 million range. And they have to split 50% of the front office with the theaters. And that's actually a fairly common, is that they split a huge chunk of the original. Usually it's the first couple weeks to first month of sales. And most of them see that huge money in the first week, and that's when the theater takes their money out of it.
Yeah.
So.
But we're still in lockdown in different parts of the world. A lot of places in the U.S. are going back to mask mandates.
Yeah.
With this new strain, our new variant. Yeah, I went there. Who knows what we're going to see next?
Well, and unfortunately, I think not necessarily unfortunately, I think what we're going to see next is actors negotiating a different contract. Moving forward, saying, hey, if this is streaming services at the same time that it's going to movie theaters, or if it's just going to bypass movie theaters, I want my money up front.
I agree, and it's one of those things that even if they can figure out a way to take a percentage of streaming revenue.
Yeah, because I guess most people don't recognize this. Hollywood for the past decade has been existing on back-end deals. Almost all the money that goes to actors comes out after its theater release. Most of it, they're not being paid up front. People being paid up front are production companies, extras, stuff like that, smaller actors where their contracts aren't huge. But with the bigger named actors, a lot of them get their money after the movie comes out. And if that's not happening, then they're not going to be making any movies.
No. I mean, these are people who are the reason we're going to watch these movies.
For some of them, yeah. I mean, and it didn't necessarily start that way. With some of these actors, they've developed a name over time, but that's why their second contract usually is all back-end finance.
Right. It's like with Scarlett Johansson and Widow. She was the name. She was the character. Everybody went to see her. And if they had replaced her with, any other actress, I don't care who it was, the whole thing would have flopped. I mean, as it is, it's not doing fabulous.
Yeah. Well, and even notably, she had taken shorter or smaller deals through her first couple of.
Mm-hmm.
So when she was getting, this was her big payday out of the MCU. This was the one that was actually going to get her the money that RDJ got, the money that Chris Evans got.
And it wasn't even the money that they got.
No, it was still less than that, but it was going to be.
But it was her turn.
Yeah. It was going to be close enough. She was finally going to get her big solo movie and get the big payday on the back end finally.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not going to get a tenth, maybe, of what she was going to get at this point.
Yeah. And who knows what the ruling will come down on, with her in this court case. If she's going to get what is currently owed to her, if she's going to get more than that, or if she's going to get less than that. Honestly, I think it's probably going to come down on the side of right around what she's currently owed, because I do think that this will be found as a breach of contract, but that's my opinion.
I don't disagree with you at all. Depending on, we don't obviously know how her contract is specifically written. We have a general idea just based on most of those contracts are written. But I'm guessing that they will cite that as, hey, we understand what is happening with the COVID stuff, but if this movie was released under normal circumstances, what would it have made?
Yeah. Well, and not even going off of that, even just saying, okay, well, what is a percentage of your revenue from streaming sales? Because this one, unlike something on HBO Max, where if you are an HBO Max subscriber, you automatically get the movies. Mm-hmm. With Disney, it was the premium or premiere or whatever. So it's that $30 to buy the movie.
And I don't remember what the exact numbers were on it, but they were huge,
right,
for streaming, and those are $30 a pop. So
maybe she'll just get whatever percentage of that.
Probably have to be in the road 10%, I'm assuming, to potentially get her close to where she needs to be on that original.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's move on to another movie, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Which, the first one, not bad.
No, because they listened to fans.
And it somehow was one of the highest grossing films last year, which is hilarious and only makes sense in the context that the last year didn't really have theater anything. So,
yeah.
But I guess it was enough to unsurprisingly go in on a Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And my favorite part about this is that we're getting Idris Elba playing Knuckles, which is hilarious.
Oh, I love that man's voice.
I do too.
Right? Like, I could just listen to him read me the phone book. And the fact that he has gone from Suicide Squad to this, I think it's hilarious. Now, he has done other cartoons, and he has done a lot of other voice acting. He was in Finding Dory. He was in Zootopia. But voice acting. I think this is going to be fantastic, and I'm wondering how big of a part Knuckles will actually have in this movie.
I'm assuming a decent amount, because the way it seems that they're pushing it is that he's going to be the antagonist in this movie.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's getting a decent amount of it.
Yeah. And it's possible that they were like, oh, Knuckles will have this small bit. Wait, hold on. We got Elba. Knuckles now has a much bigger part.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, that's how I would do it.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
For not only the production team for that movie, and also for Idris Elba, who certainly is completely cool with still being a team.
Yeah, which I think is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
because he wants to, he wants to work no matter what.
Well, and he's one of those actors who can really choose what he wants to do. Like, he doesn't have to do anything.
No, not at this point. It's basically up to him on what he wants to do now. So if he wants to do Sonic, good for him.
Yeah, so this is just, he's like, yeah, that looks like fun. I'll do that one.
Well, and you have to assume it. He's basically just going to go to a studio, or probably has a studio in his house, I'm assuming, where he's just going to sit down, in his sweats and record this during the day and just get it all put away, because it's going to be 100% CGI. I'm assuming they're not going to mocap him. So
I don't think that he would fit that body type.
Probably not.
But they may want to film him doing it just for facial expressions.
Potentially, they might.
I mean, because what is it? Jodie Benson, I believe, is, if I'm thinking the right actress, in Beauty and the Beast, when Belle is constantly pushing her one strand of bangs back behind her, behind her ear or out of her face, that was a character movement of the actress while she was doing the voicing.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So they'll take the facial expressions, or the body the posture, not necessarily the actual body movements, but stuff like that, to really just make the character, the animated character and the voice character merge really well, and make them one as a whole.
Which you can still do completely virtual.
Yeah. Totally can do it totally virtual. But
good for him.
Yeah.
Good for Sonic. Good for Sonic, actually. Getting Idris Elba to do that movie. That's weird.
Yep.
It's a weird thing to say.
When's the last time or ever did you think, hey, who would make a really good movie together? Jim Carrey and Idris Elba. That has never entered my mind. That combo.
No, Kick-Ass would be the only time I could think that you could potentially fit that in. Just because of Colonel Stars and Stripes, you could probably do Idris Elba in there somewhere.
Maybe.
But that would be about it.
Yeah. So. All right, let's see the filming. The Sandman series for Netflix. This is based on the Neil Gaiman book.
Yep. Has
finally finished filming. It is now currently in production. Where they take the hundreds upon hundreds of hours of filming and splice things together and figure it all out.
Yeah, because they've done they did all the principal photography, so now it's going to be a giant pile of post-production.
Yes.
And if everything goes well, we should see this movie or this series in a year.
Less than that is what they're anticipating. They're saying, 2022. So could be early 2022, could be fall, could be December.
If they can put together a quick post-production, maybe.
And since it is a mini series, and not just, or series as a whole instead of individuals, if they can just get the first couple of episodes ready.
Yeah. I'm assuming it will not be 2021.
No, it will definitely be 2022.
Because I don't think they could push it even December would be a tough call. I would expect spring, maybe summer of 2022.
Yeah, I'm expecting spring, but we could also get this rolled out in fall because of the type of series that it is.
Oh, yeah, potentially if you want to try and draw the spooky crowd.
Yeah.
But Neil Gaiman's going to have a decent amount of buy-ins early on this series just because of he has a pretty big following.
Yes, he does.
So I'm assuming he's going to get a decent amount of people that are going to want to watch it no matter when it comes out.
This is true.
I guess maybe if you want to try and grab some of the, normies.
Yeah, if you
this rather unconventional story, might push the ball.
Yeah. Now it does say that this is season 1 of the series.
Oh yeah, this is almost. I'm guessing they're probably going to do at least 3, probably 5 seasons of Sandman.
So yeah, we'll have to see because with American Gods, another Neil Gaiman, we weren't sure what all we were going to get because there's only one book.
Yeah, and that was it. That was. We probably could have gotten more out of that, but Sandman has
the series started to suck.
Yeah, Sandman has a lot of more backstory, and it was it ran a lot longer, and there, I believe, is still an active Sandman comic right now.
I believe you are correct.
So, and they could go into so many other things with this. I mean, the Sandman universe connects to, that is his biggest universe. Because there's a lot of stuff connected to that. Like, you could potentially see some sort of Lucifer crossover, or some kind of Constantine crossover into it, stuff like that. So,
well, and they've already said that appearing in season 1.
Exactly. And
so
I would expect this to last for at least 3 years, and then you'll probably get a couple spin-offs of it, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, this one should be a pretty good success for Netflix, I think. Just based on the name alone. If he tells a halfway interesting story with it.
And it already is a halfway interesting story, otherwise they wouldn't have done it.
Well, I mean, that Jupiter Ascending one kind of...
That was a halfway interesting story. And if nothing else, you got to see what's his face with no clothes on.
That's true. I'm being an ass, but I think the issue that Jupiter Ascending had was
it was stupid.
It came out after The Boys and after Invincible. And after seeing those two things, you really have to push the envelope coming in that close. And it couldn't do that. And I think that's where it lost its audience. This one's going to be a lot darker tones, a lot more on the spooky side of things, so it's probably going to draw people in pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited about seeing it. I'm excited about some of the people they have in the cast. You know,
good cast.
So, they have been trying to get this created since 1991. There were talks about turning it into a film adaptation, or a mini series or whatever. And then Netflix just kind of stepped in and said, nope, it's mine. And that was back in 2019.
I think for Sandman specifically, any series series was a better route. Because there's a lot of small things that happen that you can't jam into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, and the thing that we talked about previously is that when you're talking about something with the source material being a book series or a comic book series or something along those lines, doing something like a mini series, like, the MCU as a whole, where it's not a one and done.
Yeah.
Lets you stay so much truer to source material.
And I think he's really pushing for that because he's one of the few people that takes his comic books seriously. He really tried to create interesting stories. And he does take his work seriously. So,
yeah,
him, wanting the details to be right seems like it lends itself better to the series format.
I agree. So we'll see what Netflix does with it. Netflix has been, in my opinion, series side of things.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next. But you mentioned The Boys, and that's why Jupiter Ascending did not do so great. But Boys Season 3 trailers, we've gotten some of those.
Yeah, we did.
And new heroes. Or anti-heroes, or...
a little bit of everything.
Yes.
A little bit of what the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a lot of bit of what...
But it should be cool. They've kind of highlighted some of their new characters, which is good. It's going to get people trying to figure out what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, they focused heavily, at least for me, on Supersonic, who is an interesting character. So, with an interesting backstory. So, that should be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most of what we've seen so far for The Boys, leading up to the new season, is just stuff about Jensen Ackles and Soldier Boy.
The Soldier Boy, yes.
Because it was such a big deal that Supernatural had ended after, 15 seasons?
I believe so.
And now he's gone over to another TV show without Jared Padalecki, and changed his physical appearance and, all of this other stuff. So that has really been a big focus for The Boys Amp Up. But now, it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. He's going to be in it. But guess what you're going to get?
Yeah,
you're going to get The Boys again.
Yeah, and you're gonna get a lot more expansion, I think, on the background story when they start adding these other characters in, which is good, honestly, because they've done a decent amount on Vought and everything like that. But I think we're gonna be getting more of the Church of the Collective stuff, push it in an interesting direction.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the new characters that we got, released in this most recent trailer, definitely, I'm interested to see what happens. But I love The Boys anyway. I love its gritty, dark humor.
Yes.
And so the fact that we're seeing this, and that we're getting so much in the LGBTQ, and new hero, new villains, and plus want to see how Homeland
I'm sure they're going to take a pretty deep dive into that. I know we're going to be getting a lot more Starlight's past.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that they're bringing in Supersonic, they're going to probably push into that. And same with the Church of the Collective stuff. You're going to be getting more of what happened with Starlight Ethan. So.
Yeah. So, and get to see her crazy ass mother.
Yeah. Probably a little bit.
So, yeah. Capes for Christ. Okay, so that's what's happening with the boys. Let's see. What else we got going on over here? Okay. Oh, here we go. A TV show that I fully enjoyed was Avatar: Last Airbender. We do not discuss the piece of shit movie with the giant fish monster.
Oh, you mean the M. Night Shyamalan classic?
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. All right. Oh, for fuck's sake. So there was a crowdfunding trying to get a new Last Airbender game.
Yes.
A role-playing game. And the goal was $1 million. Can we get all of the fans of this cartoon to donate anything? $1 million, goal met in 16 minutes.
Yeah, that is impressive, to be honest. And not very surprising either. The surprising part for me is the company producing it. $1 million is not a lot.
No, but
for an RPG.
But it was done in 16 minutes. So if they increase the amount that they need,
I'm assuming they're going to have to, because to get an RPG off the ground is probably going to take more than $1 million.
No, this is a tabletop RPG.
Oh, I misread that.
Yeah, so it's an officially
Possible.
licensed. It's an officially licensed, like they had to buy the licensing and get it all approved by Nickelodeon, but it is a tabletop RPG.
That's entirely doable then. Oh, well, good for them. I thought it was going to be a video game. I was like, that's a big bill of $1 million. Like, a lot of those RPGs cost
No, this is strictly tabletop for right now.
Okay, then yeah, $1 million. That's a hell of a head start on that.
So, it looks like they are looking at, in talks with Nickelodeon to also include an expansion for The Legend of Korra. So yeah, I'm just thinking that if the fans can all come together and give $1 million for a tabletop RPG, what could we do if we decided to make a movie that didn't suck ass?
It would cost a little bit more than that, just the CGI.
Absolutely. But if the goal was, $100 million, I guess what? We would need 100 times 16, it's 1,600 minutes.
Even then, $100 million, if you're doing a live action movie, the CGI budget on that is going to have to be enormous.
Well, I'm sure that the studio, once they see the need for this, and that the fans are willing to fund a large portion of it, they can kick in the rest.
I think it's more likely that you potentially get another animated version.
Yeah, but the animated version was already good.
The cost and the fact that the first one just crashed and burned as hard as it did and cost like $200 million to make.
Okay, but the first one was shit. And only covered like half of the first season.
Well, I mean, it's also hard to condense. What is it? Like 30 episodes a season for that show?
Yeah.
How do you condense that into 2 hours?
Okay, well, fine. How about a live action miniseries?
That's potentially doable. Do like 8 to 10 1 hour long episodes. You're probably still looking at a $300 to $400 million budget.
Again, if we can provide $100 million from the fans, then a studio can fork up the rest.
I'm assuming Netflix would probably actually jump on that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. It would be a beautiful thing.
Agreed.
As it is, I am not very big into RPGs, whether they be on console, computer, or tabletop, just because instead of rolling for charisma, I like to say, you know what, motherfucker, I have charisma. It's not fair that my character only has so many points. But I do think I would want to play this one.
This is going to have a big audience. I can, if it is a tabletop game, this is going to have a pretty big audience, I think.
Now, here's the question. Which nation would you play? I'd probably be a firebender, to be honest. I'd be Fire Nation, more than likely. Yeah.
I'm rather aggressive, so I'm assuming the play style would be aggressive from them.
See, and I'm torn between wanting to be water or air. Like, I don't want to be an earthbender. But I feel like you need one from every nation to have a good campaign.
Probably.
You know? Which is the whole point of the TV series anyway, is they like pick up randos from each nation.
Yeah, I'm assuming it would probably have to be a 4-player minimum to make it really into an interesting battle, into an interesting story.
Yeah, or maybe, you're not allowed to play Fire Nation because you're still trying to, defeat the Fire Nation. Or you're playing Fire Nation, but you're more like the Zuko side of Fire Nation instead of the Azula side of Fire Nation.
Mm-hmm. See, yeah, I don't know. That'd be cool, though. It'd be fun to play. At least give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long it would take. I'm guessing it'd be a long gameplay.
Well, I mean, most traditional D&D style, RPG campaigns are, not the one-offs.
No, they're...
Well, we're normally recording on Monday nights, and the reason our beloved Fox was not with us on Monday is that Fox's girlfriend is part of a Pathfinder campaign that has been going for over a year now, with that same group of characters, the same DM, and they play every Monday night.
I've gotten into Dungeons and Dragons.
So...
good for them.
Yeah, I mean, they love it.
Yeah.
They've lost a couple of people. They've gained a couple of people. But the core group is still there.
Did they get Joe Manganiello?
No, they did not.
I'd sit in on that one.
But I will tell you, if you decide to watch Molly Mayhem on Twitch for Pathfinder, their DM does go into explicit detail on the pervy stuff.
Oh, of course.
And one of their characters is a necromancer who worships at the temple of a goddess of lust and revenge.
probably doesn't end up well for anybody.
So she does lots and lots of crazy sex scenes, including apparently having sex with a centaur. She earned her Catherine the Great status. So check that out, Molly Mayhem on Twitch. Watch the recorded versions so you can join us live on Mondays. All right, so final item that we have for the dynamic duo show tonight. You get to be Robin. Is Mercedes Lackey. Huh?
Are you gonna pick which Robin?
Abso-fucking-lutely. You can be like Nightwing or
Probably be Damien.
there you go. Ruthless. You know, as long as I don't have to be Batgirl, we're fine. Okay, so Mercedes Lackey, one of my favorite authors of all time, has a dozen or more book series just within the Valdemar universe. And this is a book series that came out, let's see, the first book was released in the, say, late, early 90s. Trying to find the exact date that the book series came out. But it is the book series of Last Herald Mage, which follows a young gay character, and he, has magic and does this and that and saves the day and all of this other cool stuff. One of the beautiful things about Mercedes Lackey is that she writes a lot in strength of LGBTQ and in very strong female characters who will end up coming in and saving the day. She'll rewrite fairy tales where the female character is the hero, as well as the damsel in distress. But they are turning this 3-book series into a mini series for TV. So it's going to be Kit Williamson, Brittany Cavallaro, and Radar Pictures are working together on this. Kit Williamson is best known for the LGBTQ comedy Eastsiders with Netflix. Brittany Cavallaro, who wrote the Charlotte Holmes book series. She's helping do the adaptation. And so the first season of this show is going to be, here we go. Magic's Pawn, first published in 1989.
Okay.
So it is going to be a TV show, not just a mini. It's going to be a mini series. As I was looking for the date of when the first book came out, where season 1 is going to be the first book. Season 2 is the second book. Season 3 will be the third book.
So how long would this series run?
So that is just that trilogy. So if they choose to move on to another one of the books in the Valdemar series, she does a lot of one-offs or trilogies, or even just 2 books for a character, where it takes you through the full character arc of someone.
That's pretty cool. So this could last a while then if they do it.
Yeah. Let me see. How many books are in Valdemar? I want to say it's over 20.
Oh, wow. Is that an active series?
Yes.
Did I ask that already?
No. So let's see.
That's pretty cool.
Let's see. How many Valdemar books are there? It looks like at least 39. Just from what I've been able to see so far.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. And then that is only one of the universes she's created.
That's fairly prolific to write that many stories.
So yeah, in this universe, she's covered over 3,000 years of this universe, from the very beginning when the whole universe was created, all the way through the present day of the universe.
Thing is,
yeah. So it's, and like I said, that's only one of her series.
Wow.
One of the universes she's created. She also has a 500 Kingdoms series, which is retelling fairy tales, and she has a Elemental Mages and Masters series, which is obviously, magicians to go with each element. And so, yeah, it's intense. And I highly recommend her, especially because even when there are sex scenes in the book, it's more like, hey, they're going to have sex now. Let's move on. So it's okay for a YA.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I would suggest Ella read these books.
Okay.
For those of you who have been following us and fans for a while, you know that Tank and I have a niece, Ella, who will occasionally do book and or movie reviews or go to Comic-Cons with us, and then give us the young person's perspective. And when we have her joining us, I say fuck a lot less often. I still say it, but it's less often. She's 13. She's heard the word fuck before. She's heard worse from her own father.
Probably.
All right. So that is wrapping up our dynamic duo show for the evening. Tank, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, we'll be getting into some of the stuff that you probably are waiting for us to talk about with What If, Suicide Squad, all the things that have happened in the last week or so. We'll get to that. We just want to have more of our cast here.
Exactly.
Open up the discussion a little bit more, especially on those topics.
We're sure that Smurf will have very strong feelings about both What If and Suicide Squad.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing, there's a lot of stuff coming out. Stargirl started yesterday. What If started today. Titan Season 3 and Star Trek Lower Decks both start tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot of stuff next week that we'll get a little bit more into. Oh, and Free Comic Book Day on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So Friday the 13th, followed by Free Comic Book Day.
Yep.
So
try not to get killed on Friday, so you get free comic books on Saturday.
Or, if you get killed on Friday, then have your spirit haunt someone who is then able to get a free comic book on Saturday.
There you go.
But, hey, we wish you all no death. And hope that you join us on Monday next week when we will be back to our regularly scheduled, time. But this week, Monday, we were fighting with much crap feelings. The air pollution with the fires up here has just been absolutely atrocious. So we had 3 of us down for the count on Monday and another 3 down today. But you know what? The important thing is that Tank and I were here.
Exactly.
So on that note, normally Smurf would say something about running fast, but I say, you know what? Walk softly, carry a big stick. So, it's almost Friday the 13th. Have fun with that.
Machete.
Yes, carry a big machete.
Get your hockey mask and machete.
Wear a striped sweater. Everybody will be happy.
There you go.
All right. We will see you guys on Monday. Thanks so much.